Hey y'all, we're back again. Now the question is, I've been seeing it everywhere. Why is Daniel back? Basically, because it's my duty. Um, Basically for the past 3 months, I've disappeared, and it was time to make justice, make make everything make sense. So that's why I'm back. I know y'all miss me. I know basically that y'all can't live without me. We're back again. What drove me to also come back is right now I want to work on my video editing, and it wouldn't necessarily make sense to edit the things I got in the vault because that's on some type of soccer series. I said we're going to be posting new reactions. Now we come with no promises, no 2026 better me. I got the real Daniel, the real motherfucker. All right, let's get right into the reaction. Let's go. Today we're going to be reacting to one Barcelona fan against 20 Premier League fans. Personally, I'm a I'm not like a try-hard fan, but I'm a Barca fan at heart. So let's watch this. It's truly two Barcelona fans against 20 Premier League fans. Let's go.
And I didn't want him to leave.
Oh my God, does everyone actually believe that?
I don't think any Premier League player gets into the top six.
PK and Puyol wouldn't get near Van Dijk and Terry.
Today, I've got one Barcelona fan ready to go
Two.
up against 20 Premier League fans. Fans will have to be the
Let's
first
see how
to
this
cheer
goes.
in order to debate our Barcelona fan. The other 20 fans all have a yellow card, and if they disagree with what someone is saying,
Yellow
raise
card?
it, and if 10 yellow cards are raised, I'll send them off. They'll then be replaced by another fan until our debates are finished. Each debate is 10 minutes, but once they're done, they're done.
Lamine Yamal is the best footballer in the world.
Lamine Yamal is the best footballer.
Is Lamine Yamal the best footballer in the world? If not, who would be better than him right now? Dembele, Rafinha, Pedri. These are all just names I'm throwing there. Bruno Fernandes. People are underrating Bruno Fernandes. Is he not carrying Man United right now? Who else is moving crazy? Those guys pretty much. Olise is moving pretty crazy. Is Lamine Yamal the best player in the world? I'm curious to see who these guys talk about. Potentially, I could only see Pedri being better.
In the world. Start seeing the timer in 3, 2, 1. Make your way up. Oh my God, does everyone actually believe that? Seriously? Okay, well, I thought someone might make a shout for Dembele. That's kind of...
Dembele?
Oh, come on, Michael. Is the timer counting, by the way?
Yeah.
Oh,
Wearing a Man U kit. Is this guy going to tell Bruno Fernandes? He's been playing good, but he's not necessarily better than Yamal.
brilliant.
Got 20 seconds.
Okay, Mikey.
I'm quite surprised that there wasn't someone getting up that quickly, because I think it is a debate, right? I think Lamine Yamal. I mean, first of all, why do you think that Lamine Yamal is the best player in the world?
Well, so I think first of all, it is subjective, and I did expect people to get up, but
Same.
but at the same time, the way I personally judge the best football in the world, I look at impact, but also how many different ways you can impact a game.
Okay.
When I look at Lamine Yamal, first of all, this season he's evolved into a stage where he's been man-marked by 2 or 3 players almost on an every game basis. And I look at how he's able to head oppositions from minute 1 to 90, essentially. First of all, I think his gas...
Do we got Saliba just sitting down there?
able to head oppositions from minute 1 to 90. And I look at how he's able to head oppositions from minute 1 to 90.
Fuck me. Okay.
Essentially, first of all, I think think his gas tank, his physicality to run at the defender 90 minutes straight is incredible. And I don't think a lot of players have that along with his technicality. You look at his ability to pass, but it's not just one element of chance creation. It's outside of the foot, inside of the foot. It's dribbling through 3 or 4 in tight spaces, in transition. So there's just so many ways he can hurt you. And then when he gets to the top of the box, his ball striking is just so good.
Is there celebrities everywhere? This guy just looks like Carey Price. Is it just me?
Sort of curler top corner is something he's made a habit of. And I mean, his goal catalogue speaks for itself. So I just think the avenues in which he
He doesn't have the most goals, to be fair.
Most footballers.
But he's been playing crazy recently.
At the moment. That's my core argument.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty strong argument. I think with Yamal, I think Yamal is the first player since Messi that we've seen who could get to his level on a long-term basis. So I feel like in 5-6 years' time we're going to be talking about one of the best players ever already. Mm-hmm. But I would say I do feel like his age counts against him just a little bit, given that we've only seen him play for 2-3 years. And when you look at the performances of someone like Kylian Mbappe in a dysfunctional Real Madrid team this season, the output that he's getting out is amazing. The output throughout his career since he was 18-19 has been world-class season on season. You look at the numbers that Kane's put up.
The question is, I gotta check Mbappe's stats right now. But is he injured? Because in the Real Madrid against Man City game, he wasn't playing. But Real Madrid still, I believe, won 3-0. No, maybe not 3-0, I forgot. But I know Valverde did a hat-trick. Do Real Madrid play better or worse with it? Without Mbappe? Real Madrid always play good in La Liga. But he always scores goals. Is it really the Real Madrid squad are preventing him from playing this good? And there's so many good players on Real Madrid, so I don't know what's the problem with Real Madrid.
Last couple of years as well. Don't think I'll put Kane in that conversation because I just think Mbappe has a bit more to his game. He's a bit more, the qualities that you describe in Lamine Yamal. I think Mbappe has pretty much all of those aside from his delivery into the box. Equally, if Mbappe was playing more on the left or on the right, maybe we would see that part of his game come out a little bit more. But for me, I think Mbappe still just about edges it. I think Lamine Yamal's part of a better team. Mbappe, you could argue that maybe him being part of Real Madrid makes them a worse team, but nevertheless, he is the only one really producing. And, Real Madrid could win the league this season. La Liga is still really, really tight. And if they do, then I find it hard to look past Mbappe as the best player in the world.
I actually considered this, and I think it's a fair position, but when I was thinking about my argument, because I just didn't want to be baselessly tribal.
He's talking to a Barca fan about Mbappe. This is going to get ugly.
I see a very clear distinction between individuality and collective success. When Mbappe came to Madrid, they just won the Champions League. They were pretty much the best team in the world. Carlo Ancelotti was at a high. Vinicius played his best season in ages. And people spoke about Mbappe coming in and potentially disrupting the dynamic. Of course, I think a bigger part of Madrid's downfall is losing Kroos and Modric. But Mbappe leaves PSG. They rebuild with a younger squad. They have better chemistry and they go on and win the treble, right? Mbappe comes to Real Madrid and you can clearly see certain friction going on, especially with Vinicius. His output's fallen down a hill since Mbappe's come in. With Lamine Yamal, it's gone the opposite way. Barcelona become better. When Hansi Flick came in, Barcelona, they didn't have a chance. And then the chemistry with Rafinha. There's no ego in that side. And I think collectively, Lamine Yamal makes Barcelona a better team. Whereas with Mbappe and Real Madrid, I don't think you can say that Madrid are a better team now with Mbappe than they were pre-Mbappe. There are other factors to that as well, of course.
Yeah, because I feel like it might be harsh just to put that down to Mbappe. I feel like Mbappe enters a team, Real Madrid, that historically has had a lot of egos, still does have a lot of egos, especially if you consider Vinicius in there and the other players trying to get into that forward line.
I think if you take Mbappe out of Madrid, I don't think they'd be much worse. But if you take Lamine Yamal out of Barcelona, I think we'd be much worse because we just don't have that player. The things he can do in the football pitch, no one can replicate. But with Mbappe, when you take him out, Vinicius just becomes more of a player, more responsibility, and they also have more of certain harmony in the front line with Rodrigo, with Vinicius, Rodrigo coming centrally, and then Brahim maybe on the other side or Marc-Antoine. So they just have a lot of quality, and I think the harmony is better without Mbappe. And I
Mm. But you
think
can't
that's the
necessarily
point
argue that
against
he's a
him
better player
being
if they
the
have like
best player in the world, because I think
more
the best
second
player in the world is holistic.
options.
It's not just about what you do individually, but also what you can do for your team, because it is a team sport.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I could argue about Bruno Fernandes,
Go
but
on.
that's for another day.
that's why I was saying with the Manu kit.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I mean Harry Kane's been amazing. Yeah, if Dembele hadn't been injured so much this season, I'd argue as well. Yeah, but he's had a bigger impact this season still. Yeah, I guess.
I thought Declan Rice was a big one for Arsenal fans for a while. It's
I mean, we can count on to Harry Kane, but I'm happy. Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Cool. Yeah,
Absolutely fine.
Nice
Well
one.
done. Well done. Does anybody else want to come up and? Oh, here comes Declan Rice. Come on, Waleed. Welcome, mate.
So we got two Salibas? Saliba
I
number
actually thought that it was
Saliba number 1, Saliba number 2.
just based on form. That's why I kind of just sat back and said, fair enough. But I
Got
still
a fresh cut
kind
to
of
be
what
fair.
Michael said before in terms of the fact that his age and how long he's been doing it for. I know it doesn't really count with who I'm gonna say, but I think Ousmane Dembele for me is still the best in the world, in my opinion, because if you talk about impact, for example, what Lamine Yamal has done with Barcelona has been incredible. But you look at Dembele, who's gone in that side, had a very tough season initially when he came in, but was still kind of helping from that perspective of making PSG a better team. And then what he does in that second half of the season last year, I wouldn't say near enough single-handedly because it's not like everyone done their bit, but he was the star man. Round the 16, quarterfinal, semi-final, final. Even though he didn't score, I think got 2 assists. Like got man of the match, I think. No, it was doing it, but you know what I mean. Like in all the big games,
Because I didn't necessarily watch PSG that much, but I was still underrating Dembele until I seen that match against who did they play? Chelsea, where Dembele was on 1 against 2 players, fast break, brought it inside, then brought it outside, shot, and that was pretty impressive. I didn't think he had that in him. But
I
he's still a
watched it.
Ballon d'Or
I
winner.
think
So.
in the game just now against Marseille, I don't know if you guys
It must
saw
be
the
good
goal
for
he
some
scored,
reason.
Like literally weaving out of 3-4 players, smacking at top bins with his right foot. Like his technical ability for me is still a joke. And I think what he does in the big moments, especially when Mbappe left, to kind of take that mantle when a lot of people didn't want him, especially at PSG. Like he went in because there was a release clause in his contract and nobody was trying to activate it. So like everybody thought it was a flop. So to go from like, for example, in the 2022 World Cup final, he got hooked off the pitch, was a horrible, terrible performance. That renaissance to now win that Ballon d'Or and to still be producing the level that he's been producing at, although with the injuries that he's had, I just think with PSG, they would be in a worse situation if Dembele was there in comparison to Barcelona. Because when you look at, for example, you had Pedri, who was running a lot of your games last season. For me, was the best midfielder in the world. You look at Rafinha, I think he got 38 goals, 16 assists, something like that for club and country. Was your captain for most of the season as well. Incredible. I think your whole team is also the reason why you are one of the best teams in the world. But I think with Dembele, if you take him out of that piece at PSG, I just don't think they win it.
I agree with most of what you said about Dembele. I think, first, as a Barcelona fan, most Barcelona fans are bitter towards him, but I think he's great. Like, I watched him at the club and I didn't want him to leave. And what he's become now, I couldn't have seen coming. You know, he's so mature. He's taken up a central role. We saw that under Koeman a few years ago, him playing centrally as a bit of a false nine. And it was interesting, but I never thought he had the understanding to play that role. But he's come in, done a great job. The point that I would disagree on is that PSG would be a better side. I mean, Barcelona are a better side without Lamine Yamal, and PSG wouldn't be as good without them. But I think PSG, if you look at their side, they have Barcola, they have Doué. Their front line generally has players of a greater level, whereas if you look at Barcelona, right now, Lewandowski is 38 years old, 37, 38. Ferran Torres, he's a good rotational player, but he's just not at that level. So it's basically just Lamine Yamal and Rafinha, and then the likes of Fermin Lopez and Dani Olmo. I think Lamine Yamal brings that front line together and has been doing. People bring up his age. I think his age does work in his favor. People, Lamine Yamal has time. He's only 18. He's only 18 and he's still performing. He's one of the best in the world. I think that should raise his case.
Yeah, I think it's also the same with the attack at PSG because you mentioned like Barcola, for example. I think he's a great player, but he still hasn't refined his game yet. You can say the same with Desiree Doué as well. We all see the talent, but he's not the complete player yet. They've got a couple other guys in the attack, like maybe Ramos and those players who aren't ready to take that mantle and step up. And when PSG were kind of crying out for that player, when
You tell me the video is 44 minutes? thought I was gonna have an easy reaction. What? 45 minutes? Fuck. No. I do about a 45-minute reaction. Fuck me, man. Fuck, I gotta do some shit with my hair. Fuck. Okay. Fuck. Okay, we're not gonna listen to the whole reaction, guys. Sorry to let y'all know about it.
Who's going to be the guy? They more so, I mean, obviously bringing like sort of Colin Wine, all these guys for big money, and no one can fill those shoes. And I think obviously Kvaratskhelia coming in kind of elevated that team as well. But I think it's also Dembele.
That guy Kvaratskhelia. I never can pronounce this guy's name, but this guy scored a hat trick as well. Everybody just banging hat tricks. Yamal also scored a hat trick the other day.
His bit and kind of saying, okay, I'm going to be.
I want to go and have this thing being posted. I can check out the end.
One of the trophies that they won.
One of my points, again, that I'll say is that PSG have a very unique luxury of being able to rest players at very frequent intervals. Lamine Yamal plays 90 minutes week in, week out, doesn't get a rest. Now, that is in part down to our own management of him, but the mandate for him...
Wait, also, in people that he was talking about, he didn't mention Rashford. But I don't know what type of love for Rashford is necessarily.
Fantastic. You know what? Something that I thought we weren't going to do, we actually ended up doing. Brilliant. Thank you, boys.
That is the worst take I have ever heard.
Mate, what are you on about? You don't get football. Sorry, lads. I was just finished something. This video is sponsored by Raycon.
Okay.
Right now. It's that time of year.
No. I'm not trying to hear
Thank
this.
you so much to Raycon.
An all-time Premier League 11.
Okay, let's go. All-time Barcelona.
Barcelona 11 beats an all-time Premier League 11. Who will be in Barcelona 11? Also, we gotta decide if are just putting players' performances when they were playing at Barca, or we're talking about peak performances of players. Because, for example, I've seen things about Thierry Henry play for Barcelona, but those were not necessarily Thierry Henry's best years. We wouldn't. It's like I couldn't put Thierry Henry in the all-time Barcelona 11 and then put him also in the Premier League top 11. So we'll be in the Premier League top 11. Cristiano Ronaldo, Wayne Rooney. I don't know, some guy like Scholes, Jared, Beckham, Van Dijk. Barcelona 11, Messi. Samuel Eto'o, Suarez, Iniesta, Xavi, Busquets, Dani Alves, Puyol, Piqué. Premier League, the Salah, Hazard. Who has a better midfield? Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, or like Scholes, Jared? Cause I didn't watch any of these clips. Best Barca. I got no idea.
Owner 11. Oh God, we're feeling a little bit scared today. All-time Barcelona 11 beats an all-time Premier League 11.
Yeah, let's see what these guys have to say.
Let's do
Hey,
this.
man, thanks, mate. Before I go, I want to preface this by saying my Barcelona level will be based on players that I have watched. I could go back to Cruyff and Maradona and Kubala, but I feel like it just would take away from
I
what
think
I
it probably
can
helps out the
understand,
Premier League 11 as well, because it's only been a thing for like 30 years.
So we'll just
Football wasn't real in the 90s. That's right.
Without further ado, why don't you say your 11 of the Barcelona team?
Yeah,
Just
so
everyone
in goal, so I also think that the back line is really only where Premier League players would get in. So I think in goal, I'd probably go Valdez or Ter Stegen, doesn't really matter. I would say Ter Stegen, not a good option in general. He had a few very good years, but in general, I think like just Schmeichel and Mensa would take over. Right back, Dani Alves, I think probably the greatest right back of all time. Centre back, I'd go Piqué and Puyol. I mean, could have come in there, but I'd still go Piqué and Puyol. Left back, it's between Abidal and Alba. I'd go Alba. Then the midfield, Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets. Front line, Messi. I would go Suarez. R9 had one great season, but for the purposes of this, I would just go Suarez because he's probably the greatest striker we've ever had. And then left
Neymar?
wing, I was debating Neymar or Ronaldinho. Now, this could be a debate on its own, but I think for what he did, especially the Ballon d'Or he won and how he lifted the club from a point that was great, I'd still go Ronaldinho. So that's my 11.
Okay. What are your players then for your Premier League one? Because I think that's.
I don't think you need it for this argument because your argument obviously was they wouldn't beat them.
Yeah.
What is the best Barcelona side of all time? Would you say, like year-wise?
Probably.
Because the best team I've ever seen was that 2011 Barca team.
Yeah,
I'd say.
probably the one in my lifetime. Yeah, I'd say 2011. Yeah.
Arsenal beat them, and the following year Chelsea beat them. So Premier League teams, both those teams, that Arsenal side was Squalacci and those guys. That Chelsea side, we're winning it with Bertrand playing. Like that wasn't our best team ever. That wasn't Arsenal's best team ever, and they were capable of beating that Barcelona side.
But anyone's capable of beating anyone, right? Also,
But
in a
you said they
one-off.
couldn't beat them.
No, they would beat them. Like in a game, we're talking like hypotheticals. I think.
No, I know, but I'm saying as in like.
But it's
they
also
wouldn't-
my
if it
argument is
proved
that an all-time Barcelona 11 would beat an all-time Premier League 11. So it's not just the best.
I don't know, because those Barcelona sides, I think the reason why we had a very good record against Barcelona in general was because we were so physical, and obviously those Barca sides.
Why are these guys holding this shit so zesty? Like, god damn. Like, it's like, look at this guy. What is this guy doing? Have a little more, like, confidence in your thing.
Both those teams, that Arsenal side was, Squalacci and those guys. That Chelsea side, we're winning it with Bertrand playing. Like, that wasn't our best team ever. Arsenal's best team ever, and they were capable of beating that Barcelona side.
But anyone's capable of beating anyone, right? Also,
But
in a
you said they
one-off.
couldn't beat them.
No, they would beat them. Like in a game, we're talking like hypotheticals. I think.
No, I know, but I'm saying as in like.
But it's
they
also
wouldn't-
my
if it
argument is
proved
that an
that-
all-time Barcelona 11 would beat an all-time Premier League 11. So it's not just the best.
I don't know, because those Barcelona sides, I think the reason why we had a very good record against Barcelona in general was because.
The best.
I don't know, because those Barcelona sides, I think the reason why.
Man,
Very good record against Barcelona.
hold this shit with effing conviction.
And obviously those Barcelona were brilliant. They passed you off the park, but they didn't like getting kicked a little bit. Those Premier League sides, I'd say, consist of far more physical players that could rough up Barcelona. Like, there's a reason why those Premier League sides got more joy against Barcelona than some of the other teams in
But has
Europe
the Premier
in general.
League
in those
side
years.
ever achieved anything close to what?
No,
that
oh no,
Barcelona
it's a better
side?
team. I'm not saying it's a better team, but it can beat that team. It can
No,
have
but
a
the
one-off game
argument,
and beat
of
that
course,
team.
that my argument isn't that it's impossible for, but I think that it would be a better team, and an all-time Barcelona 11 would be a better team than an all-time Premier League 11.
I'm not against that at all. It's just case of when he said like they could beat them. I'm like if weaker Premier League sides could beat the best Barcelona side,
But
then I
we
think
can go through this though, like
Yeah.
for the purposes of the video. If, for example, if we were making a combined 11, just in case, I don't think
Please do. It helps me out a lot. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah.
I don't.
Two
think
yellow
any
cards
Premier
up.
League Play gets into the top
Red
six,
card.
so the front three
I
and the
think
midfield.
I loved Ronaldinho. I loved Ronaldinho to bits,
But
but
the Premier
07,
League
07
version, though, would he
yeah,
get
the Ballon d'Or winning 07, 08 Man United side,
Over
the
Messi?
Ronaldo's. No, left wing ahead of Ronaldinho, who'd get in. I'd also argue Rooney at his best goes with Suarez.
Oh,
Suarez,
you know,
Suarez,
I
Suarez
don't-
is brilliant. I'm not doubting that, but as in there were lots of strikers in the Premier League that could compete with that.
Yeah.
Even like I don't know. Drogba he had his fun against Piqué Puyol, and also Piqué and Puyol.
Okay, well,
Piqué
okay.
and Puyol wouldn't
Okay.
get near Van Dijk and Terry. For me.
Wouldn't get near.
No, wouldn't get near.
The Chopper one's killed you there, mate. Chopper's killed you. You had him, I think. You had him, and then it killed you. Okay, how long have we got ready on the time, my friend?
Nearly 6 minutes.
Nearly
now,
6
yeah.
minutes. Please, guys, anybody else want to come forward and debate around... Luca, I saw you had a yellow card up, mate. I saw you had a yellow card up. Anybody else want to come up and debate around the topic of the Barcelona? An all-time Premier League team would not beat an all-time Barcelona.
Not that they can't beat them.
As in overall,
Yeah.
100 games,
Yeah.
Barcelona team
Yeah.
are coming out on top most of the time. Come on, Alice, have a go. Have a go.
I'm just trying to think, like, as Toby mentioned with the physicality and stuff, obviously this is more recent, but we've seen Prem teams bully La Liga teams over times, and I think, as you mentioned, like, the defence is particularly strong. I'd make her argument for Ashley Cole at left back. I think.
Can I just say one thing? So, can I include the players that I would have from the Premier League?
Yeah,
I think
add them
that-
to your squad.
I think Ashley Cole, you could argue, would do a better job than Al. Not in that team, not for the dynamics, but in general.
Player to player.
You could say Puyol would come out for one of the Premier Leagues. I don't think PK would come out. That's my hot take. I think that Jared PK was an incredible defender. He doesn't get the credit he deserved throughout his career. I think that when you look at what he did for Barcelona at the time, I don't think there are many centre-backs like him. He's essentially like a first-phase playmaker, and he had the ability to play a high line, one of the highest lines we've seen, without having the pace, but then maintaining it. And throughout his career, he never really had an elite defensive partner after Puyol, but he carried that side to 2 trebles, not 1 treble, should have won another one, 1 treble, 3 Champions Leagues, won the Euros, won the World Cup, won everything. I think his CV is probably more accomplished than most Premier League defenders centre-backs we've ever seen. So
The other
Puyol,
ones,
PK
Van
doesn't
Dijk,
count.
Terry, Ferdinand.
Yeah.
Who other any other centre backs? Stam.
Yeah, so I think PK with another Premier League centre-back would come there, and then a goalkeeper. But then for the front 6, I just wouldn't. I don't think any Premier League footballer. You could make an argument for Ronaldo that year, and that's fine. But apart
I
from
don't
that,
mind Rooney.
Yeah, Rooney over Suarez. What Rooney could do was nuts.
I know. Rooney was incredible, but Suarez's prime had 59 goals in 24.
How many yellow cards am I seeing?
He outscored prime Messi and Ronaldo. He won the Golden Boot.
Yellow card,
I'm
ref.
not doubting
I don't-
Suarez's numbers and Suarez's ability, but Rooney could do things like pick out passes that I've not seen strikers
Suarez
be able
could
to
too,
pick out.
yeah.
He could pick out some good passes, but I think Suarez had maybe better numbers, and I think he's also complemented by the fact that he's playing with Lionel Messi. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
Rooney played with.
But do you
some
remember what
fantastic
Suarez did
players.
in that Liverpool side, though? 31 goals, 9 assists, was it, in that Liverpool side, which just wasn't a very good team.
Oh
Scored
no,
some of the
like
great
I'm
scores
not
there.
debating Suarez is a phenomenal player, and I think Suarez Rooney is debatable. I think Ronaldo for me gets in over Ronaldinho, but my argument can't be super strong
But
when I
do you
didn't
think
watch prime
the Premier
Ronaldinho
League, like an
loads.
all-time Premier League side, would beat an all-time this Barcelona
Well, I
side
think
that I named?
the defence, I give you Dani Alves, and I think I would have Rio and Van Dijk as my centre backs. I think I would have
Van Dijk?
obviously probably Schmeichel or Van der Sar in goal. Again, didn't really watch Schmeichel, so I'd have to probably go Van der Sar. So I think that's already 4 Premier
I know
League
Van Dijk
players.
was pretty
I
close to
don't
winning a
think
Ballon d'Or
Ronaldo,
during one
left
season.
wing.
I think Ronaldinho, the year that he won the Ballon d'Or especially, was incredible. One of the
Ronaldo
greatest
also won the
times.
Ballon d'Or that year, broke records, won the
At
double
Man
with
U?
Manchester United, and
But where did he play that year? Wasn't it mainly on the right? It was on the right,
Probably,
right?
yeah.
So,
He was more of a right winger.
and I think that version of Ronaldo was still quite young and raw, very good, very skillful. But things Ronaldinho, he came into a Barcelona side that wasn't very good at the time, and he basically, I think the trajectory of the club first changed, of course, with Cruyff. Then the second time when Laporta came in and signed Ronaldinho, that's when Barcelona became a new Barcelona, the Barcelona that we know today. I think what he did for the club, it started with Ronaldinho, and then of course Messi, Pep, that generation came in. But I wouldn't have prime for prime many players over that version of Ronaldinho, and I think Ronaldo at the time, I don't think that version of him.
I don't really watch
that
Ronaldinho,
version
so I
of
can't
Ronaldinho.
really
So
say.
if we're going prime for prime, I've got Ronaldinho, Suarez, and then any version of Messi, really.
I think that Ronaldo season is the best season we'd ever seen from a player in the Premier League. I think that Ronaldo season was absolutely nuts. And also another point is, could you even argue Thierry Henry?
When he scored his 40-meter free kick, that was playing for Man U, no? I believe.
I could put him
Prime
in
when
my
he broke
team if I
this
wanted
record.
to.
That's the only issue you have with guys like Henry that played in both.
Was Arsenal Henry better than Barcelona
Oh,
Henry?
Yeah, of course, of course.
Yeah, there's an
Yeah.
argument that
Yeah.
you could go on the left wing as well. Like,
Yeah,
Play striker
but,
too.
yeah, you could. And then the midfield, I just think the midfield is where it seals it.
Yeah, I don't
Jose
really want to
Mourinho
debate the
said
midfield.
that-
I'd love
stick with N'Golo. N'Golo Kante at Chelsea. Like, it's a point that
I'd love
I'm
to
not
say
saying
Bruno
that's it.
Fernandes, but I don't even think I could do that. Like Paul Scholes, you could maybe have
Yeah,
a
I mean,
debate for.
for that Barcelona side, they beat United twice in 2 finals, right? Scholes was there, obviously, maybe not the best version of Scholes, but I mean, I just think the midfield is just so far superior. And then you combine it with Lionel Messi in the same side.
Goddamn, how many
Ronaldinho
yellow
in the
cards am
same
I
side.
seeing?
Messi's connection with Dani Alves and Jordi Alba was incredible. Jordi Alba and Messi kind of were telepathic. Messi and Alves were telepathic. I just think there's too much firepower, too much technicality, and physicality is important.
I can
And
tell
maybe
the shit's
the
coming,
current Barcelona
England.
side would struggle against the physicality like they did against Chelsea, for example. But that Barcelona side was just too technical, too good, too fast. They're strong. I think it would be quite comfortable.
Do you think there's a little biased towards Barcelona players in terms of they just are aesthetically more pleasing. You know, back then, like the tiki-taka football, the fact they're so good on the ball, whereas the Premier League is more physical. So when you like kind of look at a player, like, oh, but they're just so much better to look at. So maybe there's like an
Yeah, but
unconscious
then they
bias.
have all the accolades to show for it too, so it's kind of head again productivity.
Full time. Lovely debate, guys. Well done.
Don't worry.
Guys, you could be in this percentage right
No,
now. Subscribe to the
no,
channel.
Zach
Majority
Jawab. Calm your ass down.
effort. Barcelona.
Since taking charge of Barcelona, Hansi Flick has done the best manager job in
When did
football.
Hansi Flick take over?
24, 25, so...
Welcome, my friend.
Who is he gonna argue? Pep Guardiola for Barca. Klopp for Liverpool. Who else could he argue? Mourinho for Porto.
And again. Right, it's going to be really difficult with this one because I can't believe I'm arguing Keith Andrews. I can't believe I'm arguing Keith Andrews.
Fair enough, mate.
So I'm going to say it's all relative. And
Who
successful
the fuck is Keith Andrews?
is incredibly different to successful Brentford. Successful
Brentford?
Barcelona would look like silverware. And this season, everybody in this room had Brentford to go down.
Yeah.
Everybody in this room. Zach messaged me at the start of the season saying, enjoy the championship.
We got to a point where we're debating Hansi Flick against some Brentford coach. Out of all the coaches that you could have took, you took this Brentford coach? No, let's get serious. Let's get serious, please. Let's get serious.
Everybody has us to go down. But it's all you have to do is look at where we are now and where we're going in the future as well.
Right.
Keith Andrews came in,
Another appearance of Saliba right here.
set piece coach last season. He came into a role that was the only role that we had open, but the club thinks so highly of him.
So this is the last question that we're going to check.
To be able to learn and develop and grow as a manager.
Right.
Everybody had us going down. We've beaten Liverpool at home, United at home, Villa at home,
No. Best manager, this guy gotta be deluded out of his mind.
A hypoallergenic clean recommended by dermatologists. No irritating residues, no dyes, no perfumes.
Newcastle at home, Newcastle away, Villa away. And we're 7th in the Premier League, level on points with Liverpool, 4 points behind Chelsea, 4 points off of Champions League places for a club that should probably be in League One, really, if we're looking at a stature. It's hard to compare the job that Keith Andrews has done for a club that probably a lot of people here don't even think should be in the Premier League to what success would look like for Barcelona. We've already succeeded and over-succeeded what our season should look like because we're already safe, really.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can't... Well, I'll make my case for what I think would go for Hansi Flick and then we can get into the nuances. But first of all, when Flick took over, the context is that Madrid had won the Champions League for the last 3 years. On top of that, they'd signed Kylian Mbappe, and the season prior they'd signed Jude Bellingham, right? Barcelona had no money. Xavi left because the squad wasn't good enough, and Flick was given a Dani Olmo who spends most of his time in the hospital, and that was pretty much it, right? Not only were Barcelona not given a chance to
Already a yellow
win La
card?
Liga, people thought that they might not even finish in the top 4. I didn't. I thought it would still be like top 3. But he came in, and one of the most impressive things he did was take over a side that lacked physicality, lacked height, lacked pace, had a 16-year-old, 17-year-old Pau Kubasi at the back, Ronald Araujo in the worst form of his career, and Inigo Martinez, who was a free agent signing from Athletic Club. And then he drills them into the most organised, high-line, caught teams offside, double, triple the amount as any other side. Beat Real Madrid 4 times, won 5 gold rubbing, 2 finals against Real Madrid. in the Clásicos. Before that, we'd lost like 4 or 5 Clásicos in a row. Then to go to the Champions League, get all the way to the semi-final, right, stumble over there in the last minute against Inter. But I think the job he did to take over and change the team from a passive, more conservative side under Xavi to a high-pressing, high-intensity side with the players at his disposal. Most managers would need hundreds of millions to get to that point and still probably want more. And he did it with an old Inigo Martinez, a teenager at CB, a goalkeeper, which was Szczesny, by the way. He's retired. We got him out of retirement and said, come, mate, come play for us. And Frankie de Jong was injured for the first 6 months of the season. So it was Casado. Barnell got an ACL. Gavi was injured too. It was just Pedri and Casado in the midfield. And then he makes Eric Garcia auxiliary right back, left back, and midfield. Eric Garcia was an outcast at City, by the way.
He was.
And Rafinha was about to leave the club because he was so low in confidence playing on the left wing. Flick comes in, he scores 38 goals, 22 assists in one season. And then Lamine Yamal just takes it. And Lewandowski was out, by the way, under Xavi. He was looking like a petty 6-year-old, and then Ferran Torres comes in this season, does great. Lewandowski scores over 40 goals last season. So I think if you look at what he's achieved at the highest level, people like Keith, an incredible job. He's done an incredible job to keep
Is that 5 yellow cards?
competitive. I can't argue against that. But I also think, like you say, success is relative. I also think there are certain levels, and to compete at the highest level with basic.
You tell me the Brentford coach doesn't have more yellow cards?
So difficult, and Flick has done it. Resources, as in, if you look at the side relative to what it could be and relative to what Madrid was, there's no resources in that regard.
You're off, my friend. However, I do appreciate the debate. Like, I think it's a really good point.
No, I think it's fair enough, mate. Honestly, I do.
And again, you're right. It's relative, isn't it?
Yeah,
It is relative to a lot of things. Please go forward. Seb. Thomas Frank.
Hey, mate,
Thomas
it's me.
Frank.
You tell me all this time we're dealing with a Tottenham fan? Can't even look at him, man.
Go ahead.
I don't dead ass hate Tottenham.
Is the man I'll put forward for a couple of different reasons. The Champions League is obviously the biggest competition for both Barca and PSG. Inter Milan obviously beat you, should never have beat you, in my opinion, given the quality of both squads. And PSG then going back to them 5-0 in the final. Won every trophy that season. I don't see how you could have one over the other.
I also think it's holistic with Luis Enrique. That was his second season in the club. So he took over, basically changed the club around, spent hundreds of millions, which Flick didn't have.
Yeah.
He came in, he had to get rid of Mbappe. The first season he had Mbappe
Was
and
that not
Dembele.
big? Was that not a big thing? Losing your
It
key
was a
player,
big-
that whole summer was a mess.
But
for
they
them.
became, he had the ability to go out and mould his own squad, which Flick didn't have. Flick was given what he had and had to work with it. Luis Enrique could go and handpick the players he wanted and mould a squad around what he would probably prefer the squad without Mbappe, if I'm being honest. Like, the problems, he benched Mbappe a couple of times that first season because it just wasn't working.
Yeah.
So I think if
He
Flick
still-
had that,
He still had Pedri, the best midfielder in the world, Yamal, the best player in the world, as
no,
you
that's
just said.
yeah. But
So I think there was like a load of different. Like, I don't think the difference in squads is huge. Like, you had Pacho in his first season at PSG, Marquinhos, who hugely criticised before Luis Enrique came in. Yeah,
That's where you have the best time.
a reject from Wolves. So I think it's like he was at the time. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously he came in and was amazing, but he was. So I don't think the difference in squads is huge, despite the fact that Enrique could build his own squad. So
But the difference in I think with Flick, if you look at the players, Rafinha was half the player he is now before Flick came in. Eric Garcia was half the player he is. Pedri hadn't played in almost a year with recurring injuries. So he
we
came
all knew the player he was. Was that more a failing of Xavi rather than? Was half of that a failing of Xavi rather than a success of Hansi Flick? Because these players are amazing.
Well, Xavi won a
footballers.
league title. Xavi did
No,
a
he
great
did well,
job with
but
them.
in his-
He did very well.
Yeah, no,
But
it's true.
I
but-
think if you look at like I said, Frankie de Jong was Pedri and Casado,
Okay.
Martinez, Pau Kubasi.
The yellow cards are.
Valde,
Why are they
Koundé,
piling up like this?
We converted to a right back, and then Szczesny in goal, Pedri, Casado,
Send him off.
Yamal,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Rafinha, who Flick made what he is, and Lewandowski was 36. I think there is a big difference in the quality of squad.
Very impressive.
PSG had Nuno
Who's
Mendes,
Enrique?
Hakimi, Marquinhos,
The problem
Pacho,
with Luis
Coutinho,
Enrique, he's not that bad.
João Neves, who they signed, Dembele, Barcola, Doué, who they signed again. That squad is incredible if you compare it and how he
Yeah,
molded
but
that squad.
again, I think that's in the hindsight that we have now of what they
But
did
all
last
these,
season.
João Neves was 60 million signed. Doué
Sure, but
was
he came from Benfica. Like 60 mil's not
But he's one
crazy
of-
in this market.
for us it is. Maybe we didn't have
Usman,
that
but
much.
yeah, true. Usman Dembele was nowhere nowhere near the player that he was last season before that. Like I could,
Yeah,
ar-
no,
you could argue that Enrique improved that squad
Oh, he definitely-
tenfold as well.
He did.
So I think that argument applies to both cases.
He'll improve
and
more in
Flick
the
and Flick
PSG
didn't
I
win the
think
Champions League.
Enrique's
Squad.
done an incredible job.
Yeah.
And that
No,
argument
did,
applies to
with
both. I'm not
Enrique
gonna- Enrique's one of
improve
my
the
favourite-
PSG squad more than
Luis
Hansi
Enrique's one of my
Flick
favourite
improved the
managers,
Barca
I don't
squad.
think
Yeah.
But I will say that
Luis
the
Enrique's
difference is
squad
he
did
had the
win
ability to mould
Champions
his
League.
squad and spend loads of money.
Red
Flick had
card?
nothing, and he had to build his squad from
But
scratch.
again, I don't think it's fair to say he had nothing.
Seb, that is you off, my friend. Good debate. Good debate. Luca.
Oh, he's
making
jumping
a
to the
run.
chair.
Hey,
We'll get there, Jack. Luca.
No, I don't need no sauce. I don't need no sauce.
Luca, now for you, go ahead.
If we talk about context, which is really important, I want to bring a coach that joined in the same summer that Flick joined Barcelona, and that's Conte to Napoli, because in his first season, he won the league with Napoli when they were 10th this season before. He turned players into McTominay, into one of the best midfielders in the world, one of the best performing footballers in the world. And Gisa, he raised his level. He got the best out of a lot of players. Lukaku seemed dead and buried, and he became one of the first players to get double-double in all competitions that season. So what's the difference between the two in that sense? Because Conte did it with a Napoli team with no expectation, and he won the league, and he also won the Super Cup this season. I think Flick has won one more trophy compared to Conte, but we're comparing Barcelona to Napoli here. So
well, I think Conte did an incredible job as well. But I think there is a difference in their European campaign, for one.
But I would also argue, we already know Conte
Who's he talking about?
is an incredible.
Yeah,
Flick also failed, I would argue, because losing to that Inter team and in the way that he did with Acerbi scoring at the end, that's bad man management, firstly.
Yeah, sure.
And also the expectation between Barcelona and Napoli in Europe is
Not
very
that
different.
year. I don't.
No, well, they weren't even in Europe.
Would you have had Barcelona reaching the semi-finals before the?
No,
season?
probably not.
Not
But
no one.
but
I'd
with-
say.
No, that's true, but Napoli weren't even in Europe that season.
Yeah. Okay.
So
but
we
then
can't really
also
compare.
the competition.
Oh, he's
though, like, I know
defending
Inter were
Napoli
very formidable
coach.
at the time, but Real Madrid had won 2 Champions Leagues in 3 years, hadn't signed Mbappe and Bellingham. That's a huge.
But this
ask.
debate just going in circles. Everybody's
With
entitled to
Napoli,
their own
was it
opinion.
Mm-hmm.
set in stone that Inter were going to win the title? I wouldn't say so. It was they were favourites, but were
Goddamn,
they
this shit is
as
wrong.
overwhelmingly dominant in terms of quality as Madrid were over Barcelona at the time?
Inter weren't as good as Madrid, but at the same time, Napoli were in a much worse position than Barcelona.
Yeah.
They finished 10th.
Yeah.
They were the worst title retainers in the history of Italian football at that point.
Yeah.
So the jump from where Conte took them to becoming champions of Italy again,
Yeah.
with the lack of money spent that summer, I believe they only brought in Gilmour and McTominay.
Hmm.
And Lukaku is
I
quite
will say
drastic.
this time right out. This is also not only about that season, but also about this season. And if you look at Barcelona this season, maintained quite a lot of success, where Napoli have just been
They have
derailed,
tailed off.
essentially. And Conte's also lost his mind, as he does mostly in second season. So that's my argument against that.
That is.
Nah, Daniel, you mad performing. Yeah, I know that shit. Thank y'all for watching, and let's see if I upload ever again. Ciao.